tell your story. Share the emotion, share what you're doing, but share why you're doing it. I didn't go looking for my purpose. Mine found me, and sometimes that happens. But the more we share with each other, the more we bond. And that bond is supportive. Like miracles happened because I believe that's what happens when you're on purpose. I was always going to climb the corporate ladder from when I was a young teenager. That was just my dream. But what happened 12 years in was I had this voice. I heard this voice come from my heart. If this is the next 30 years of your life, is this enough? It took literally seconds for me to answer. And my answer was no. I would be alone if I continued forever in 30 years, just working. And at the end of the day, what did it leave me with? And I thought, how can I bring children into my life? I started calling emergency shelters, and I called and asked if I could read stories to children. And they said yes. And I went with storybooks. And it was the most grounded I'd ever felt. I arrived in my business suit, not knowing what to expect. Night after night, week after week, I'd read these stories. And then one night I said, let me see where they're taking them to go to sleep. I was curious. And when I saw the room so bare, cots and futons, 2 or 3 kids up on a surface, some of them crying. So as the staff brought me back to leave, I asked if I could bring some pajamas next time. And they said, sure. And I did. And I was so excited. I showed up, I read the stories to this group, and then I gave out pajamas one by one. And one little girl was so afraid. She shook her head. She didn't want to take them. And she quietly whispered in my ear, what are pajamas? I had to explain pajamas to this little girl who must have been about 6 years old. And I couldn't stop what became an obsession. I just couldn't get the picture of her, the question out of my mind. But bigger than that, I thought, how many of these children would have asked me that question? How many children are there that don't know what pajamas are? And that was the start of what I called Pajama Program. And 20 years later now, we've given 7 million new pajamas and books to children across the US and Puerto Rico, and we have 63 chapters across America. Something came to me, that aha moment with that little girl. I went about telling people because I needed help, because I couldn't do it alone. It was overwhelming. Look at Oprah, look at Deepak Chopra, look at Einstein, look at all these amazing people, Leonardo da Vinci, over history. They had a purpose. They got this gift. They changed the world because they had an idea. And people would say that to me, and it just didn't feel right, because what I realized was it's not the power of one that changes things. Mm-hmm. It's the power of one another that moves mountains and moves people. By myself, I would have been Santa Claus with a sack of books and pajamas. But with all these people, that's how 7 million got done. I'm just in awe of the people that stepped up. And doing and helping people find their purpose is a way to, I hope, increase the number of people who want to tell their story and tell what happened and tell what they're passionate about and ask for support.